Hello, my Teaserking family. Problem with YouTube, it's like when you do a live video, it says going live, and usually it's 3, 4 seconds. And the last couple of times it's taken I see the circle for a minute. I back out and try it again. Anyway, so it does work. A little sick. A shaking incident last night. So I go to bed and I feel fine, and all of a sudden I can feel a fever coming on, and I start shaking like uncontrollably. Like when you're really, really cold, and I'm like shaking and shaking and shaking. So finally, I get up and take a hot shower, and then I guess it calms me down the heat. And anyway, so just staying around today, getting ready for the Memorial holiday. I will be going on a short trip. But anyway, so I hope everybody's well and making money. The basketball's been good tonight. Boston, Milwaukee, game 6. Tease take the loser, which is, I think, Milwaukee. So that's been working every game. The other one, backs against the wall, 3-0 Golden State up. Dallas wins game 4, and then Golden State sweeps them all, wins game 5. So that's, pretty much the way it went. Dallas, I thought was even with Golden State, wasn't. Now, whoever wins between Boston and Miami will be equal to Golden State, and you bet the loser back should be good. Now, again, if there's an injury in the series, you got to be careful. It's not the same team, but I remember Kareem getting hurt. Magic played his rookie season and beat Philadelphia with 50 points because he actually played center and they didn't know how to defend him. He probably should have played center a whole lot more. Couldn't defend him. Anyway, what should we talk about? So let's go to gold first. So I've been watching a whole lot of guys on YouTube, and a couple that are really seem to know what they're talking about. They kind of get into the derivative market collapsing as the demand for gold increases, which is going to happen with the Russian currency, and off I go. And all the gold is going to Russia, China, and India, and away from the U.S. And Britain and Canada really have very little gold, if any. So get ready for the price of gold and silver to really go through the roof. I know you're looking at it like you would a stock or a football game. You see it at 1850. Excuse me, I got a little hack. You see it at 1850, and that's what happens, right? You're like, oh, shit, this doesn't go anywhere. Gold's not a good investment. They want you to believe that, the government, because it's competition. Gold and silver are real money. And if you go and ever read the Constitution, and I know I'm not a big Constitution person from reading it, I am a constitutional person from believing that's the rule book and that's what we should abide by. And in there it says the only money that should be is gold and silver. There shouldn't be any other money, and there shouldn't be a Federal Reserve. So if you would have stuck with that, you'd never be going through the crises we're about to go through with this very high inflation, shortages, food shortages. We're about to go into a recession. All this stuff is just, it's basically a Federal Reserve printing the money and printing the money and printing the money. Now I understand the real reason of COVID was to get this faster so they can blow up the system. So in my mind, they're doing it on purpose. They can't be this stupid. Nobody's this stupid, and Biden's the perfect fool for it. He comes out and he don't know what he's saying. So whatever he says, people, there's no way going, well, he's too stupid to have done this. Well, he didn't do it, but it's been made. Then they go all the war in the Ukraine and the inflation, and it has to be planned. So they're doing resets. First, there's going to do the reset of the rich and trying to eliminate people, and then it'll get to a free market reset. So, and when that happens, gold's going to jump. So right now, if gold jumped to, here's what I heard today. So gold, if they let it get to 2,500, which is nowhere near its market price, it would create the panic and frenzy of everybody jumping in, going, "Oh shit, my money's no good. Look at gold's going up. I'm a sheep. I only follow. So since gold sits at 1,800, I don't worry about it because I don't really know. Not me, but these people. And then if it started to go to 2,500, everybody would jump in. And that's what they don't want. They don't want you to leave fiat money because they're all getting rich off of it and they're printing it, and they can't print gold and they can't print silver. And therefore, this is competition for that. And they don't want, so they're fighting the competition sort of the way they're fighting Bitcoin. Regardless, that's what's happening. So once it starts going up, it'll keep going. Well, the paper market or the casino paper or whatever you want to call it, the fake price fixing that I call it, there's done by derivatives on gold and silver to keep the price low. And the banks are going to get burned because once the price goes up, it's going to go up. An example is nickel, which went up like 1,000% in 2 days. They can't control it once it goes. So, but from what I'm hearing, silver is going to go through the roof first. Gold's going to follow it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sell your silver for gold. So you buy your silver at 27, 28 an ounce, and it goes up to 2,000, 3,000. And then you're going to turn around and say, oh, well, I'm going to take that money and buy gold with it. And that's what's going to happen. So you'll end up buying gold because right now it costs you like $19.50 to buy gold. But if you buy a lot of silver at these low prices, you then can, as silver jumps up, you'll be able to use the silver to buy the gold. And that's when you really hit home. So right now you want a little bit more silver, and then you're going to want gold. Now, I hate when guys say, well, I don't know what it's going to be. That's like, fake picking a football game. Well, I think Chicago's going to beat New England, but I'm not going to pick it. And I'm, I'm like, what's the point? So I think initially you're looking at $50,000 to $75,000 an ounce of gold in the 3,000 or 4,000 range for silver until it won't be marked in dollars anymore. The US dollar is going out, will go out, but they can't do a digital currency now. I just saw the news. We can't do a digital currency for 5 years. Well, this is not the money printing. Gold's not going up. Oil's not going up. It's the money is worth less and less. And the more they print, the less it's worth. And it's getting to the point nobody wants it. Russia doesn't want it. China doesn't want it. And that's the end of it. So it's just winding down now. Anyway, this is my problem, the hacking cough. So that's the problem. And gold and silver will go up. So there's a story I told you guys probably a couple years ago. I was in Vegas in August with my girlfriend, and they have the big games of the year going on you could bet on. So it's August. Michigan's a 3-point favorite over Ohio State because it was the year Urban Meyer had retired. So there's a new coach, a new quarterback. So everybody's fearing, well, he's not going to be that good, They made Michigan a 3-point favorite. I made a pretty good bet on Ohio State, and they wouldn't let me tease it for some reason. So I took Ohio State +3, couple $1,000, and knowing that Ohio State was the better team. I knew it. I knew that's what's going to happen. Sure enough, the game comes. Ohio State is a 10-point favorite, and Ohio State wins by 30. And I got it at +3 because in August, I knew what was going to happen in November. And I told the sports book manager, and I don't forget this, and I said, you got the wrong team favored there. Ohio State should be favored because Ohio State at that time had won 20 out of 21. It was 20-1 Ohio State, and there was no reason just because Urban Meyer wasn't there that the new coach was going to be bad, and Michigan couldn't beat them anyway. Most of the players are still there. Michigan still can't beat them. So he gives me a smart aleck comment. Well, did you bet $1 million on it? And I said, what does that got to do if the wrong team's favored? The wrong team's favored. And I made sure I saw him when I cashed the ticket. Yeah, you made Michigan the favorite. I thank you. I'm sorry I didn't have $1 million to bet on the game. I would have taken you for $1 million. But, that's just rude. And this is the type of people now. But I nailed the game. I knew that was going to happen. Now, let's go to something meaningful, the gold and the silver. I'm telling you, just as I knew that Ohio State should have been favored in the game, and by game week, they were 10-point favorites. I had them +3. I had like a double teaser on them. Is as sure as I am that gold and silver are going to go through the roof. They're trying to hold it down for the competition, which makes it really funny because that's not competition. Competition's free market, and you let it go. But in this case, competition is let us choose between gold and the fiat currency. The government they want the fiat currency to be a monopoly, but gold and silver are real money. Fiat currency is currency. It's used to go to Target and buy a pair of shoes for $20. I'm going to pay with currency. People argue, well, you could go, how can you spend gold? Well, you could go to the coin store and say, give me cash for the gold because you need cash to buy things. But eventually you'll walk in and buy a house with a couple of gold coins, a couple of gold ounces. And that's the beauty of gold. I mean, it's, in the Roman times, they used gold. And it was probably, I don't even know if they used it versus the Roman dollar or they just bought things with the gold. I'm not sure how that worked, but now it's the US dollar and it's priced in every currency in the world. The ruble, the hryvnia, the euro, the Canadian, the Swiss, there's all a dollar amount associated with it in gold. And what you're trying to do is get, that the gold will hold its value. And the best way I can explain it is, what do I tell you? We want assets, right? We want Tom Brady cards and Michael Jordan cards. Why? Because they're assets. We want gold and silver. Why? Because they're assets. What don't we want? We don't want dollars because a fiat currency dollar is not an asset. It's a piece of paper. This is the US dollar. It's a piece of paper. It has no value. It's not an asset. So if I can explain it in any other way, I'm going to explain it like that is why you want gold and silver over fiat. Because the fiat's going to zero. It never really goes to zero. It just eventually, nobody wants it, and they cart it off, and you can't use it, and they'll bring in a new dollar. Now, what I heard is they'll just, the banks will not let you have your money. And then the banks are going to say, well, you had $100 Friday when you went to sleep. And then Monday, well, now you only have 30 in the bank. So they're going to steal your money because they need it because they're spending it. Gold and silver should be safe. From that, they could take it, but probably not. Well, I mean, the U.S., they just don't believe in gold, right? The only reason they did it in the 30s is because they needed the money. They needed the gold because they're on the gold standard, and they needed to print more money, so they needed more gold. That's not the case now. They're not on a gold standard. So, the demand for rubles in gold. So, in other words, they're saying it's pegged to gold. So people need gold to buy the oil and the gas from Russia. And then B, just the fact that all the currencies are being printed and going down. These rate hikes, not only will they not last, won't, there's no, they can't, they're not going to keep raising to 10%. Okay. And even if they did, that wouldn't be enough. They can't stop printing. They're not going to reduce their balance sheet. That's impossible. So what'll happen is they'll raise interest rates a little bit more, and then they'll start reversing them because they're realizing they're going to kill the economy, and they've already killed the dollar. Then what's left? So they're going to reverse. The rates will go up a little bit more, and then they'll realize they can, and it'll go back down. It might get to 2 or something, but then it won't stay there because it's going to kill the stock market. And keep in mind, as the costs go up to the companies, they can't pass it on to the consumer. Gas you can because you really need gas to drive, but the other things you cannot pass on to the consumer. So like cornflakes, I'm not going to pay $10 for a box of cornflakes, so they got to keep their price lower that I can buy it. I mean, if you look, I see 2 liters of like Pepsi now and Coke, and it's like $2.20. Why isn't it $7? Why is it $2.20 for Coke? Because they know they never sell a bottle at $7. I mean, as it is, I'm buying Faygo if I want pop, or I just drink water and tea. And if you notice, the tea really hasn't gone up, or the coffee, my broccoli and cauliflower, and maybe my avocados went up to 128. Who cares? Again, that's a food that is really not, it's not going to go up to $10 for an avocado. But that's what's happening. So you'll see the prices. That's going to cause stocks to drop because that people on margin, again, these idiots on margin, that's what ruined 1929. That's what ruined 2008. And that's what's going to ruin today is these idiots keep going on margin and they only think stock's going up. So I told you the story where I was at Target and the guy in front of me was a doctor and I'm all into Amazon. It always goes up. And since I talked to him, it's gone down almost every day. I think there was one day it went up yesterday or something, but it went from 3,300. The day I looked at it was 2,300, went down to 2,000. I think it's back to 2,100. And I'm like, oh, it always goes up, really. So nothing always goes up. Nothing always goes down unless they're going bankrupt. And that's what's happening with the dollar. And they're going to play it like, I read an article, something where, inflation's not, it's only going to be 2% next year in their dreams. Yeah, if they take out anything that is like, when you look at inflation and you look at gas, I mean, that kills the 8% right there. That's like 40%. So there goes your 8% inflation. And that drives everything else because you need to ship it. So if you drive, the Pepsi to the grocery store, well, your cost just went up. So, there you go. So that's the inflation all over is going to be driven by the gas and the taxes. And then they're ruining our dollar by keep printing it. If you notice, they haven't stopped printing it. They haven't reduced the balance sheet. They say they're going to, but they can't. So it's just a nightmare. And again, it's as sure as Ohio State giving me 3 points and they win by 30. And by the time the line was 10, gold's going to hit 100,000 and silver's going to hit, I don't know where, 20, 30,000. It won't matter because it won't be priced in dollars anymore. It'll jump up, but then when the dollar goes out, it'll buy you a house. An ounce of gold is going to buy you a house, and you could get it for 2,000 now. I have a friend. I keep bitching at him because I say to him, he's got like a lot of his money going to his 401k. He doesn't need to. He's just trying to save for his retirement. I'm saying you're not going to have a retirement. I said, you need to not put 30% of your money into your 401k. Put your 3%, the company matches, but the rest of it, you need to take. And so your paycheck should be 27% more. And then you need to run out and buy gold with it, because you're not going to be able to get it. See, what I'm saying to him that he's having a hard time understanding is gold's not going to stay low much longer. And it's going to be hard to go to the coin store, give me 10 ounces of gold. It's going to be hard because it's going to be out, because the demand's going to do it. Right now, the demand is still people like us, we go and buy it. I know Nick and some other people, some more of my friends here, they've been buying silver and they get it and they're holding it. But what you got to realize is really soon gold's going to go out. You're not going to be able to go to the store, here's $2,000 for your ounce. It's not going to be there. A. B, if it is there, it's now going to be 5,000. You like the dramatic effect. That wasn't unintentional. It'll be 5,000 an ounce. How are you going to pay for it? So buy it now while it's low. In other words, get the Ohio State bet in now. You're getting +3. Go make the bet. Don't wait till the week of the game and now Ohio State's -10 when you got Ohio State +3. Make the bet now. So buy your gold and silver today, and then because it's very limited and the price is going to skyrocket, so you're not going to be able to afford the new prices. You'll buy a quarter ounce for $2,000 instead of an ounce for $2,000. And yeah, Howard. Yeah, I've heard this. It's going to go up. It's going to go up since 2010. It really hasn't. It's being fixed by COMEX. Yes, I got it. No, I got to be professor. I get it. But now with the Russian ruble backed by gold and the demand for gold and the debt in America and everything is being ruined and the dollar's going out and this hyperinflation we're in, it's different. This is going to force their hand, and it's almost like they're doing it on purpose. It's almost like the Chinese and Russians are saying, okay, it's time. We've got 20,000 ounces of gold, 15,000 ounces of gold. Now it's time. I'm done buying. Let it run. And now I'm going to have this mass fortune. And it's almost like that's what they are trying to do, is destroy the dollar, let the gold and silver finally run, because we're the richest country. Let it run. And now it's worth 100,000 an ounce. And guess what happens with the Chinese and Russians when you own 25,000 ounces of it? I own 30 and I'm excited, but when you own that, that's what happens. So just understand now is the time, and you better buy it soon, because you're not going to either be able to find it or you're not going to be able to afford it. So to me, I run and buy. I try to buy, like I get paid on the 30th, so I get paid on or the 31st. I get paid Tuesday. Tuesday afternoon, I'm running and buying at least an ounce of gold, and I'd like to buy like an ounce and a quarter, and then 20 ounces of silver. Well, I can still afford the silver. Fortunately, silver it's so cheap. I bought 10 ounces last week, and it was $32 an ounce. Even though silver was at 20, they did a $12 premium. Now people like me go, that's 32, that's fine. But you don't look at the basement derivative price. That's what they want you to do. Oh, I'm not going to buy silver. It's still $21 an ounce. It doesn't move. And that's what they want you to do. So you ignore silver. Go buy Microsoft, because I can tax you. Go buy the dollars. I can't tax you on gold and silver. So I don't want you to buy it. Plus, it's competition of the fiat. So they're keeping the price low on purpose, so you're not interested in it. That's their plan. But we're smarter than them, and we're not going to fall for that. And we're going to buy as much as we can, because once that boulder starts rolling in that snow and it hits the bottom of the hill and it's huge and it's explosive, it's already starting to roll, right? And you can see that. And then you get the war and you get all this stuff. So it's eventually coming home, and that's what's happening. But you have to understand everything. In other words, when I give you a bet and I say we like Cincinnati in the Super Bowl over the Rams, and I say, well, it's because Joe Burrow, he'll keep the game close, and Stafford's a choke, and Cincinnati doesn't have a bad defense. The Rams barely beat the Niners. I think Cincinnati, I think I had 10.5. Absolutely, there's no way the Rams are going to blow them out. So we know that, and we bet it, and we got the W. And that's the point here is if you analyze what's going on instead of just saying, well, this is what happened before, but are all the variables the same? And it's all based on variables. Are the variables of what happened in 2008 or a couple years ago the same as today? No, they're not. And here's why, which I just explained. And that's what you have to look at. Not are the you can't just, well, let's put it this way. Ohio State always beats Michigan, except for this year. Well, what happened? Michigan found a running attack. Ohio State was a little bit loose on defense, which you could see. But just because Ohio State won 22 out of 23, you would think Ohio State would win. But if you understand why they win because their offense. Michigan's defense could not handle their offense. Did Michigan make adjustments? I don't know, but they ran the ball, and that gave Ohio State problems. And you saw that in the Oregon game. You could run on Ohio State. Michigan ran on them. Michigan got the W. So you've got to look at it. If it's the same old and nothing's changed, like the Detroit Lions, they go and they lose to Green Bay. They go and they lose to Minnesota. And they lose and they lose and they lose. If nothing changes, they're going to keep losing. When there is changes, they drafted Barry Sanders. Oh, they didn't lose to Green Bay when they got Barry Sanders. And that's what you have to look at. Or Green Bay drafting Brett Favre. Well, there's a big change from whoever crap quarterback they had before to Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers comes, well, there's really no change. Favre and Rodgers, not a problem. Now, if they're going to replace Aaron Rodgers with with Jordan Love, that's a big change, and that's going to change all their trends. And that's what I try to teach you in football. Russell Wilson went to Denver. Throw out all the Denver changes. There's a change. Two ways. Seattle, you can't, because Russell Wilson would scramble around and hit a bomb. Well, most quarterbacks can't do that. And now most quarterbacks want to run anyway. They're not smart enough to throw the ball like Russell Wilson is. And then the Denver will change because they have not had a quarterback since Peyton Manning. So all of a sudden they got Russell Wilson. Now their trends change. So that's the change we're talking about. So you've got to adjust the variable of a Russell Wilson and the variable of the Russell Wilson not on Seattle. Just like what I'm talking about in gold and silver. Before they could raise interest rates and kind of cut debt and and they were able to tame inflation. Well, guess what? They can't raise interest rates to 20%, and there's too much debt in the system. So when they do raise rates, all of a sudden your mortgage went from 3 to 5%. Can you afford 5%? Probably not. You could barely afford the 3, but you bought it because of the 3. And it's the people that bought 5 houses because it was 3% are the ones in trouble. Not the guy with the normal, I'm buying my $200,000 house and I go to work and this is my house. Okay, you're probably fine. It's the guy who is buying 5 houses as an investment, like BlackRock, and buying them at 2%, and now they're 5%. You don't think this hurts BlackRock? They still got to pay these houses, right? There's still a payment. and it's going to be more expensive. Are they going to want houses? You can't. A house is an asset, but it's if you live in it, right? If you and your family live in the house, it's an asset to you that it has value. But if you're BlackRock, you can't have houses as like assets like Microsoft. Microsoft has computers as assets, but they sell the computers. Well, if BlackRock has all these houses in inventory, what are they going to do with them? They can't sell them because with interest higher, people can't afford to pay. You can afford maybe $700-800 a month. Now it's going to be $1,100 a month. Well, who's going to afford it? Plus, the money's all inflated, so nobody's going to be able to afford it because their money, everything else, all the other costs have gone up. You're not going to be able to afford it. So now what do you do? And that's really the problem. So a company like BlackRock should go bankrupt because basically houses are not an inventory. You can't, that's not a business model. I'm going to buy all the houses up and then, their costs have just gone up with the interest rates. That's the problem. It's debt. So that's why the housing market and the stock market are going to crash because you're making things more expensive. And okay, I can do that. If things cost me more, can I offset it? Can I raise the rate to my customers? Now, not me, Teaserking, but let's say I'm selling pens and I sell them for 59. I sell them for $1. And now my costs have gone up on the pens because of shipping and everything else. And now it's going to cost me $3 to sell the pen. Can I sell it? Is anybody going to buy it? If they're not, then I'm stuck with the extra cost. And then how do I stay in business? So I either go out of business or I lay off all my employees and cut all my costs that way and keep my price at $1 because that's what the market will bear. The market won't bear $3. And that's really the issue. All right. So that is the reason gold and silver is going through the roof. They can't raise the rates. The inflation's creating the money to lose value. The government on one end wants the prices down of gold and silver because they want a monopoly on the dollar, but they think they can keep printing it even though they're losing the value, which they can't. Gold and silver is the competition, and we trade in these useless dollars for real money, gold and silver. And then as the game gets going and people realize, I don't want to be in dollars, and they start moving in this gold and silver, is going to create this demand for it. Guess what? Most of it's in Russia and China and India right now. Not here. So most of the gold's over there already. So what's left here? Yeah, I go to my guy's store and he has 7 or 8 ounces in his display case that I can buy for $19.50 right now. But then what happens when they're gone? What happens when people start running to the store going, I want it? And he goes, I don't have any. And then the price jumps because the derivative market is going to go bankrupt. And all these banks, the shorts are going to go bankrupt, JP Morgan. And then gold and silver hit market. And when gold and silver are then at market prices and you start seeing them at 5,000, they immediately go to 10 to 20 to 30 to 40, because once it starts rising, everybody and their mother starts buying it. They don't know why. Part of it's greed, but more of it's fear. Oh my God, my money in the bank, I'm not going to be able to get to it, and I'm not going to have it. I need to do something with my money before it doesn't have a value. I've seen bank runs when I was a kid. The banks will not give you all your money. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You got 100,000 in the bank. Good luck getting it out. Well, we'll give you 20,000, Mr. Robbins. That's it. That's all I can do for you. Or you'll just wake up and the 100,000 on Monday is now worth 50,000 on Tuesday, and they close the bank. A bank holiday. And when you start hearing bank holidays, run. So I advise you to keep very little and enough for excuse me, enough for a few months living expenses, 5-6 months, with the intent of having it in gold and silver, with the intent of you're going to spend the gold and silver to live on, but not as much cash as you can. And then we're going to see what they come out with, because I just read the digital currency puts basically the Federal Reserve, the JP Morgans, and the Chase out of business because they don't loan anymore. So they're going to be out of business. They're not going to go down without a fight. So they'll keep the dollar going or come out with a new dollar. And you'll wake up and they'll say, well, you know, that $100 in your account, we replaced it with $50 of the new US dollar, like the ruble. There's been 7 rubles. It's not the same ruble, but that's what they're going to tell you. Oh, well, we replaced it with, you now have $50 of this new US currency. But, you know, you got that currency. I just lost $50. And that's the problem. So that's probably how we'll get our paychecks, and, you know, everything, your mortgage, your credit cards will have to be repriced at the new currency. So I assume that's what's happened, but it's a big mess. It's going to take a while. In the meantime, the way they're printing, they better do it quickly, because they're not going to have this opportunity, because the U.S. dollar, nobody wants it. The reason Russia doesn't want it, they're saying it's worthless. I want to get paid. If I'm going to pay my oil, I want to get paid $100 in real money. That's why I want gold or rubles that are backed by gold. I don't want US dollars because it's not worth anything. And the world is waking up that it's not worth anything. And everybody else better wake up. And that's the thing. So you just look what happened to Greece. You won't be able you won't be able to go to the bank, get your money. There'll be bank runs. So don't leave too much in there, and just be very, very careful. Okay. All right. Let's go to baseball. And today's Friday. All right. We got a 12th. Oh, this game's already started. Well, the Chicago-Cincinnati game is an early one. Are you kidding me? The game's over already? No. Where did it go? Did it get postponed? It must have been yesterday. Okay. Let's see. I'm waiting for the time. Okay, so we're fine. Nothing's up till 6:40. Okay, so the first game is 6:40 and then 7 o'clock. Okay, we got plenty of time. All right, the Niners play the Bengals and Cincinnati. I don't have pitchers. Well, let's take a look. Well, I have odds of Frisco's a big favorite, and the over-under 8.5. Cincinnati, I know, is a weak team, big ERA and a bad batting average. And the 49ers are decent batting average, bad bullpen. We're going to go over. We'll take San Francisco over 8.5. Now, if Juan Maricel comes out and pitches with his low ERA, then we're not going to bet it. As of now, I don't have pitchers, but based on how bad the teams are, over. So again, when they announce the starters, then we'll go with it. All right. The Rockies and the Redskins. For the Rockies, Gomber, 2-4 with a 4.11 ERA against Aaron Sanchez, 3-3 with a 7.16 ERA. This has over written all over it. Washington, amazing how they hit 209 at home and 287 on the road with the 3.93 bullpen ERA. Since we have the starter ERA, we don't need their ERA, and we don't need the batting average because we just go to the home or road batting average. So they hit 209. You got the starter with the 7.16 and the 3.19. Colorado, we know, hits well at home. Colorado on the road hits 230. Look at, they hit 286 at home because the pop-ups go to our home runs, and they bat 230 on the road with a 5 ERA. So there's pretty bad ERAs going around. So I'm going to take this game over. Excuse me. This is what I've been dealing with. I get a little drainage here, and I can feel it in here. I'm okay. I'm not shaking, but I could feel it last night like a flu was coming, and I started to shake in bed, almost like you're cold. It was a very cold thing. So I don't know. So far today, I'm very calm, and I can write. So Washington over 9.5. Baltimore and Boston. Bradish for Baltimore, 5.74 ERA against Whitlock for Boston, a 3.58 ERA. Boston's been playing much better lately. Let's take a look. Baltimore hits 216 on the road with a 3.17 ERA. Boston hits 240 at home with a 4.52. They've been playing better. This over-under is 10, which I can understand. I like Boston in the game, and I like the game over. So we'll go with Boston. They're just hitting well. They're playing well. They're at home. Let's go with Boston tonight. Bobby Orr night, maybe. Cleveland and Detroit. We had this last weekend, the Browns and the Lions, and they're back in this game. This is in Detroit. Shane Bieber, who sucked last week, 1-3 with a 3.55 against Alex Faedo, 1-1 with a 3.0. I think Faedo won last weekend in Cleveland, over under 7.5. Let's see. Cleveland hits 247 on the road with a 3.28 ERA. Detroit hits 234. They're such a bad team with the 3.16. I'm going to take this game under 8.5. Oh, wait, under 7.5. Again, it's very hard to trust Detroit to win. They're the worst team in the league. What's amazing is if you look at the box score of Detroit, there's 6 players that hit 205 and under. 3 or 4 are in the 100s. How do you feel a major league team that doesn't have hitters? I've never seen anything as pathetic as this team. See, and then I hear on the games, oh, well, they learned the launch angles and they're into hitting home runs now. And I'm like, okay, I'll take a team of 300 hitters, Pete Rose's, over your team of pop-up city guys that hit 200 and maybe hit 5 home runs. They don't hit home runs. They don't hit at all. So how do they think that's a good thing? I hate this whole algorithm or whatever, the analytics. It's the stupidest thing because you can't math emotion. All right. The Eagles against the Jets, one of the best teams in the league. We got Falter for the Eagles, 3.75 ERA against Carrasco for the Mets, 3.50 ERA. So the ERAs are pretty close. The Eagles bat 260 on the road with a 4.10 ERA. The Mets at 250. So 2 pretty good hitting teams with a 3.32 ERA. So I'm going to go over in this game, over 8. So we're going to take the Jets over 8. Now we got the other New York team. We got the Giants playing the Bucks, and I think Brady's playing today. Talon, 4-1 with a 2.95 for the Yanks, for the Giants. Springs for the Bucks, 2-1 with a 1.32. There we go. We're betting this game under. Tampa Bay under 7.5. I'm not going to lock it. I like locking the Yankees, but I'm not going to lock that. The Yankees are actually dogs in this. Probably not a bad play. Take the Yankees, getting probably 110. But I don't really look at that much. But I see 2 strong pitchers, and I believe that they have 2 strong bullpens. Well, 3.11 and 4, but I think it's getting better. I just see this game as an under. When you got 132 and a 295, you're not getting a lot of runs in the game. All right, the Dolphins and the Falcons. We just had this game. Rodgers for the Dolphins, 2-5 with the 5.20 ERA. Basically, this guy stinks. Against Ian Anderson, 3-3 with a 4.07 ERA. This has overwritten all over it. Miami with a 3.5 ERA and a 2.28 road batting average. And Atlanta, where are they hiding? Atlanta, 234 at home with the 344 batting average. So basically 3.5 runs on the batting average. So that leaves us over under a 9. Yeah, let's go Atlanta over 9. Seems to be the prudent play. All right, we got the Chiefs and the Vikings, Super Bowl 4. Super Bowl 4. We know the Chiefs won that game. Let's see about this game. Over under 8.5. Keller for the Chiefs, 1-4 at the 3.20 ERA. Goes against Ober for the Vikings, 1-1 with the 2.55 ERA. Kansas City, a whopping 2.24 at the 4.78 ERA. You cannot trust them. The Vikings are pretty good. I think they're in first place, 2.33 at the 3.5. I'm taking the Vikings. Minnesota, that's going to be my first lock of the day. I just don't like the Chiefs when Mahomes doesn't start. So Keller, he's 1-4 with the 3.2 E. So even though his ERA is fairly low, he's 1-4. He doesn't win any games. All right, the Packers against St. Louis Cardinals. Over under 7. We got Woodruff for the Packers, 5-2 with the 4.76 ERA, going against Hudson for the Cardinals, 3-2 with the 3.60. This looks like an over, but I don't know if Milwaukee, they tend to, like, you think they're a good hitting team, but they never score. They're hitting 2.28 with the 3. I think it's a 3.12 ERA against St. Louis, who hits 240. Hits 250 at home with a terrible ERA. I'm going to have to play this game over under a 7. That's really mysterious. St. Louis over 7. You got a pitcher with a 4.7 and a pitcher with a 3.6, and you got the over under at 7. Granted, Milwaukee doesn't hit, or do they? They hit 220, so it's not big. But St. Louis's bullpen sucks, 4.59. So even Milwaukee should be able to hit this bullpen. So I like the over under. The line's low at 7, so we're going to play that. All right, we got the Maple Leafs against the California Angels. For Toronto, Manoah, 5-1 with a 1.62 ERA. There's my man. Against Silseth for the Angels, 1-1 with a 2.61 ERA. Over under of 8. So here in the last game, you have a 4.76 and a 3.60 over under 7. Here you have a 1.62 and a 2.61 over under of 8. It just doesn't make sense. Toronto does not hit on the road. Decent bullpen in California. It's 250 at home with the 4.16. So, I'm locking this game under. Toronto under 8. I just find that the over-under is just too high for these starting pitchers. The guy's 5-1 with a 1.62. You ain't hitting him. And he's going to go probably 6-7 innings. So we don't have to mess too much with the bullpen. For the Angels, the guy's 1-1 with a 2.61. So, you're going to want him out there a lot also. So look for a very low scoring over-under of 8. No, that's a lock. Absolutely. All right, Texas against the Raiders. For Texas, John Gray, 1-2 with a 5.14 ERA, goes against Darryl LaMonica, 2-2 with a 3.21 ERA. Cole Irvin, Over under a 7. Oakland plays low scoring games because they can't hit. Against this, Texas 5-1-4. And the guy's 1-2 with a 5-1-4. Texas hits 214. They just don't hit. Decent bullpen. The Raiders, take your choice. 204 at home, 205 on the road, 343. This would be an under, but I think they made it down to 7. And with these pitching, it's such a low number for a 5-1-4 and a 3-2-1. I can't go over because Oakland basically can't score. So that leaves you taking Oakland in this game. Take the Raiders, win by a field goal. The Astros against the Seahawks. We got Verlander. There we go. 6-1, 1-2-2 against Flexen. 1-6, 4.98. That's all I need to know. Lock. Houston. Lock. Verlander. I'm 3-0 locking Verlander so far, and I don't see any reason to stop, especially against Flexen's 1-6 with a 4.98 ERA. And Verlander 6-1 with a 1-2-2. Who do you think's going to win if you just look at the records? Okay, lock in Houston. All right, the Steelers and the Chargers, usually a good football game. Quintana for the Steelers, 1-2, 243 against Manaya, 2-3 with a 404 for San Diego. Over under a 7. Let's see, the Steelers, they'll hit 219 on the row with a 410. So they don't have much of a bullpen, and they don't hit very much. San Diego hits 218 at home with a 410 ERA. They don't hit either. So you got two non-hitting teams. Quintana, 243 ERA against Manoa, 2-3 with a 404. The over-under, I think 7's a bit low. So we're going to take the Steelers. I heard Lynn Swan's playing tonight, so we're going to take the Steelers. But it's set up for an over, but when you look at the batting averages, they hit 218. Now, I know their averages, and I know they're getting better as they're getting more at bats. So I think I'm going to take the temperature of the batting averages this weekend and get a much better flavor. You know, is Detroit still at 201 on the road, or do they get up to 210? And I note that. They're hitting 240 because to raise their average, especially now, once you get a lot of at bats to move the average is hard to do. So right about now, they've got 2 months and the average is pretty much set now. So if you're hitting 220, you're going to be within 5 points up or down for the rest of the year. You're not going to go to 240. It's extremely, you got to hit, you got to get 15 hits a game because you've got to factor in all the whole season. So we'll have a real good tell this weekend. All right, in the last game, we got the Rams and we got the Arizona Diamondbacks. Papoy, 0-0 with a 3.86 for the Rams. Baumgarten, 2-2 with a 2.76. I like Arizona. And I remember Arizona. Now here's where this is where this variable comes in. They swept the Dodgers in LA like 2 weeks ago. I kept taking the Dodgers and Arizona kept winning. And they won all 3 games. And here they got them at home, and you would think they'd win. Now look at this over-under. They got the over-under of 10 with a 3.8 against the 2.76 ERA. That's insane. All right, let's see. The Rams, they hit 237 on the road with a 3.36 ERA. And Arizona hits a whopping 194 at home. So you got a team hitting 230 and a team hitting 190. And Arizona's bullpen is a little weak, not the Dodgers. How the hell are you going to get 10 runs? And Baumgartner's 2.76, and then this Pepo for the Rams is 3.86. So it's not like you got 6 and 7 ERAs going. Baumgartner could pitch the whole game if you'd let him. So I don't see where the Dodgers are going to score a lot. Arizona doesn't. They don't even hit 200. So where's the scoring going to come to get the 10? Jesus. I'm going to make a second play here. I'm going to take this game under. So we're taking Arizona because they own the Dodgers, but we're going to take Arizona under 10 because it's like the Georgia 55 over-unders, and with that defense, they played every game under, and they never adjusted to 55. So you want to give me 10 runs in a baseball game with a team with Madison Baumgartner with his 2.76 ERA and a team that hits 190 against the Dodgers with the guy at 386, and they got a really good bullpen. Where are they getting 10 runs from? They do have the Dodgers favorite, so I guess they think hitting beats pitching, which we all know doesn't happen. Pitching always beats hitting. So Baumgartner could easily throw a shutout before the Dodgers rack up 10 runs on him. Because if you're pitching well, you ain't hitting it. So that's it. So let's do the rundown. We'll do the locks first. So our first lock, and we got 3 locks. First lock, we're taking the Vikings. Second lock, we're taking Toronto under 8. And the third lock is we're taking the Verlanders. So it's the Vikings, the Verlanders, and Toronto under. Now here's all the picks. The Niners over 8.5. The Redskins over 9.5. Boston, Detroit under 7.5. Who's after Detroit? I got to learn how to write. Yeah, it is the Mets. Okay, I thought it was the Mets, but okay. God, that's a T. Take the Mets over 8. Tampa Bay under 7.5. Atlanta over 9. We've locked Minnesota. St. Louis over 7. We've locked Toronto under 8. The Raiders, the Verlanders is a lock. The Steelers, Arizona, and Arizona under 10, just on the principle of why is it 10 with Madison Baumgartner and his 2.76 ERA. So that's the baseball for today. Gold 1853 is even, and that's what we've got. Okay. Any questions, guys? Please ask. So let's talk. What else you want to talk on? What else is sports? Football. Nothing really. We got to wait till preseason is a couple months away. I've done a draft video, so you can watch that. We've talked gold and silver. Get as much of that. That would be the other lock of the day. Bet gold to hit 50,000 an ounce and silver to be 20,000 an ounce. Those are locks. So we'll talk Bitcoin. The reason I never bought it is it's not an asset to me because I can't hold it. Well, let's look at baseball cards. So is Tom Brady's card I have is $80,000. It's his rookie Bowman Chrome refractor. Beautiful card. The regular card without the refractor is $30,000. So I'm putting it at 80, but I never see it in an auction. What's going to happen when the dollar changes and it goes out? Will that card go up or down? And I think the card goes up. I think the assets go up. The paintings, the baseball cards, the gold and silver. I think all that goes up because the value, again, of the dollar drops makes all the assets go up. They have to because it takes more dollars to buy it. So if you're looking to diversify and you're not in gold and silver, buy silver at least at 27 an ounce. It's you can't lose. But if you want to kind of diversify like Nick does and get into, and you want baseball cards, I don't see why they won't go way up in value. Again, it's limited. The gold and silver people might not like them, but they'll get into them. As you saw, the Jordan card went from 33,000 to $1 million. So people understand their assets. So I think I wouldn't run to get it graded and put it on eBay and get 100,000 for it unless you're planning on buying gold or silver with it. What else? So Bitcoin, I don't know. It's 28,000. If you've made money on it, please sell it, take your profit, and buy gold with it. It's simple. I get you want freedom. That's why you got Bitcoin, but you're not going to get any more freedom than gold and silver. It's money, and it's always money. Bitcoin's not money. It's not digital gold. It's really a pyramid scheme. If nobody buys it, it doesn't really have a value. It's a value because somebody buys it, which makes it a pyramid scheme. So be very careful about that. I don't own any. I buy gold and silver. If you have a choice, do that. I wouldn't spend if you're going to buy a Bitcoin for $28,000, I would tell you to buy 14 ounces of gold, and you're going to do a lot better with the 14 ounces of gold because the gold's going to go to the moon once the dollar collapses and all the gold starts going up. It's going to really move. I don't see that happening with Bitcoin. So the dollar goes out, but Bitcoin doesn't. See, gold doesn't need the dollar to have a value, right? I'm going to walk into Mercedes with an ounce and buy a car. Bitcoin doesn't have that. There is no value with Bitcoin, and I can't sell it and buy a house. And why would it go to 100,000 an ounce? Who's going to bid it up as their currency's dropping? And it's priced in dollars. So I'm just not seeing why I would buy Bitcoin over gold and silver, especially gold and silver is much cheaper because it's been held down. Now, yeah, you're thinking, well, gold and silver is always going to be held down. It's never going to get the value. And I understand your point, but I gave you the variables. The Russian ruble backed by gold, China, Saudi Arabia, India, all wanting to get off the dollar. That's the new reason. And that'll make you a lot of money. What else? So that's our baseball. Prices going up is inflation. This is why I tell you to buy real assets. This is why I tell you to buy gold and silver. It'll hold the value. There's nothing we can do with gas. We have to have gas to get in our cars to go to work or go to the club or, go golfing, whatever we want to do. We need the car. We need gas. So just that you grin and bear. But by putting your money into gold and silver, it'll make money for you. And I guess that's the only way I can do it. You would buy a house. You can't buy a house now because the $200,000 house you would have bought cost you $400,000 now. That's not going up. It's going down because mortgage rates go up. Makes it more expensive to buy the house, which means less people can afford one, and they're not going to. So buy your food. I just pack my freezer with meat and chicken and vegetables. Food's going to be a hard source to get in the summer with all this shit in Russia and Ukraine. You just won't be able. The wheat and the corn are not. They're going to be very expensive and very limited. So just be careful. There's a lot of shit going on that it makes you want to puke because I understand it. And you're just like, what the fuck are these idiots doing? And it's pure like the Chinese. It's pure obvious that, Biden is a puppet for the Chinese, and everything that China wants to control is what Biden's doing. He can't be this stupid. As dumb as he is, he can't be this stupid because he'd have to actually think about this, how to ruin everything. I think that's about it. So baseball, NBA playoffs, take Milwaukee tonight in Game 6 and Boston in Game 7. So far, every game, bet the loser back is won. And then we look for Golden State, and whoever Golden State plays, bet the loser back in every game, and you should be good. I'm glad to see Golden State better. I liked when they were good, and we'll see what happens with them. It should be a good finals. But tonight, we're all over Milwaukee. They must win or they're eliminated. And as we said, when the back's against the wall, you want to bet that team. And they're just, if they win or lose, they're going to play their best game because they won't be eliminated. So that's what's happening. Any comments or questions, please feel free. I think that's about it. I'm kind of tired with my physical condition now. I'm going to go take a hot tub in a sauna and go to sleep. I think that's about it. So let me know. Again, www.teaserking.com. Questions or comments or anything you want to ask me or tell me. I just try to be as real and honest and tell you what I'm doing. Like, I'm not telling you to buy gold and I don't own it. I got a lot, and then I'm telling you to buy. I don't buy Bitcoin, and I don't own any of it. So that's what you got to do. But buy if you'd rather go buy Brady rookie cards or a Montana Rice rookie cards or Mantles and Mazes, do that if you'd prefer. But those are all assets, and they're all based on the currency. So where gold doesn't matter, they'll just get repriced, but there'll be a demand because they are assets. And the biggest thing I can tell you is the fiat money is not an asset, but the gold and the silver and the Tom Brady cards are assets. And what do you want to own, paper or an asset? So there you go. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Happy Memorial Day. I'll try to come on probably Sunday. I'll try to do a show. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Have a great holiday. Feel good and take care. All right. www.teaserking.com. Take care.